More than 50 countries are suffering from serious or alarming levels of hunger. We want to take a closer look at the underlying causes of this food insecurity worldwide. We're joined here in Washington by Todd Evans, the founding director of End World Hunger 2030. Todd, welcome on this very important day.
Thank you.
795 million people worldwide, 1 in 9. Has that number grown?
No, it has decreased. The United Nations in 2000 declared a millennium goal of reducing hunger by actually eliminating hunger by 2030. And it has come down at last count was in 2015. And so, but as you say, that's an alarming figure. If you translate it to minutes, that means, or even seconds, that's every 10 seconds a person dies because of hunger. And that doesn't have to happen.
Right now, a glaring problem. What's going on in the South Sudan area, Yemen, South Sudan, Somalia? Let's talk about that.
Well, those are really critical situations, and they call for massive help. But it doesn't necessarily get to the roots of the problem. The program you had in Peru, or showed in Peru, was going to the roots of the problem. And what I'm most familiar with, and our organization is based on the idea of working with organizations that are working to empower farmers and farm communities in producing food that they need and reducing their hunger.
Latin America and the Caribbean have been somewhat of an example. What's going on in Peru, for instance, they have a program there that actually engages public policy with agriculture. Is this what you're referring to? Well,
it is, and it's happening in other parts of the world. In Rwanda, we have a very interesting project called Gardens for Health, and they work with the government and through health centers, educating mothers, not only in nutrition, but in all kinds of other things that will lift babies out of malnutrition. Malnutrition is a huge problem. Over 50% of children are malnourished in many of these poor countries. And so the focus, if you're getting to basic causes, often needs to be on the nutrition, early childhood elements.
And in some cases, they are social and cultural. For instance, in our report, we were just hearing about child marriage.
Well, yes. That is new to me. I had not thought of that particular element and how you can impact that. It seemed like a huge social issue.
Going beyond the government social safety nets, Todd, where can we find a basic strategy and funding to combat hunger? Does it start in our local communities?
In local communities.
By giving to organizations?
Absolutely.
And education?
Absolutely. That is probably the main thing that my organization has tried to engage. How do you raise awareness of the issue? How do you get people concerned and then moving to doing something? And what our main focus is to encourage people to pull their neighbors, somebody who's concerned to pull their neighbors together, their friends. And we have resources that we provide if they'll have a dinner to, we call them giving circles. And it's a way of raising awareness, but and then we ask them to donate what they would normally cost eating out at a nice restaurant. And that might be out in California, it's a little higher than probably other places, you know, $35, but then people give more than that, and that's our main source of raising public awareness and getting funds that we channel directly to these organizations abroad.
That is fantastic work, Todd. We really appreciate everything you do and for coming in and sharing with us how important this is. We really appreciate it, Todd Young.
I'm glad.
Todd Evans, thank you.
Thank you.
Todd Evans with the organization End World Hunger 2030 works with farmers in vulnerable areas to help feed themselves and their community.